Americans gather at the old Churchill Downs racetrack in Louisville for the Kentucky Derby. As we look down on them, for the 106th running of the great race, a crowd estimated at 135,000 has gathered on a lovely afternoon, temperature 72 degrees, to watch 10 colts, 2 geldings, and a filly run 1.25 miles for the first time in their young lives. Waiting at the end for one horse is a blanket of roses and a small fortune for its owner. Good afternoon. I'm Jim McKay, speaking to you from just off the winner's circle, where this Derby drama will end just a little bit later this afternoon. You know, in the 70s, we got used to the super horse, the Secretariat, and Seattle Slew, an affirmed and spectacular bid. But this year, it's something entirely different. In the year 1980, it's as close to a wide-open race as we have seen since ABC Sports has been covering this race. It's the kind of a story we've been handing here today that a Hollywood scriptwriter might prepare. Consider, for example, Rock Hill native. They call him Rocky. Born and raised in Kentucky, still lives just down the road here in Lexington. Well, his trainer's been sending horses to the post here at Churchill Downs for 34 years, but this is the first horse he's ever had in the Derby itself. His owner owns a total of 1 horse, one of the 2 favorites for the Kentucky Derby. And as for Rocky, he's a gelding. No gelding has won the race in 51 years. Consider Plug Nickel. He's going to be piloted by a 47-year-old jockey, Buck Thornburg. Should Buck be aboard the winner today and his co-favorite, he will be the oldest by 9 years ever to win the great race. The scriptwriter would certainly have a filly in the Kentucky Derby. We got one, even though they seldom run here in the big race. Genuine Risk is a legitimate threat here. First to run in 21 years. Only 1 filly has ever won since the Derby began a long time ago. The scriptwriter definitely would have a horse in the race, although it seems unlikely, owned by an actor for marquee value of nothing else. We have it. Jacqueline Klugman is the name, owned by the actor Jack Klugman, he of Odd Couple fame. Let's go over right now to my colleague, Howard Cosell, with our other colleague, Eddie Arcaro.
Okay, it's great to have the master back, the greatest jockey of all time, virtually Mr. Kentucky Derby, Eddie Arcaro. He has won in the past during his long career 5 Kentucky Derbies. Item 1, do you expect the 2 favorites to dominate this race, Rock Hill Native and Plug Nickel?
No doubt about it, Howard. They have the speed, and they're going to dominate the race right from the beginning. And they also are going to tell the tale of the whole Kentucky Derby this year. And other people must think so, too, because they're making a horse called Rumbo the 3rd choice in the race. So they're thinking like I think. Well, I don't think these are 1.25 mile horses.
Oh, in other words, they'll dominate with the early speed, but you expect to come from behind horse to win it.
I think these 2 horses are going to back up. What little I've seen of them all spring is that they had stop in them. They don't stack up like 1.25 mile horses.
All right. What about that tendency of 1 horse, Plug Nickel, to drift?
Well, he's trying to tell you something, Howard. He's either getting tired or something's hurting him.
Did you speak to the trainer?
I did.
What did he say?
He doesn't seem to know why he bears out, and neither does the jockey. But I've been around long enough to know that a horse doesn't bear out just to be bearing out.
All right. In the meantime, Rock Hill Native is back where he belongs, the Kentucky track. Shouldn't that help him?
Yes, he's had a lot. His maiden was broken here. He won 3 races in a row here last spring. He really likes Churchill Downs. That is an asset to him. And if one of the favorites is going to win, Howard, I think that it'll be Rock Hill Native.
In a nutshell, you pick Rumbo to win.
Right.
Okay, Eddie, now let's take a quick look at the odds board. You've just had a good look at Genuine Risk, the filly, all over again. Now the odds. Bold and Ruling currently at 60 to 1. Jacqueline Klugman getting a good play at 6 to 1. Super Moment at 8 to 1. Degenerate John at 50 to 1. Rock Hill Native now 2 to 1. Gold Stage, oh, what an overprice, 35 to 1. Rumbo at 4 to 1. Genuine Risk at 12 to 1. Plug Nickel 5 to 2, withholding 60 to 1. Execution's Reason 99 to 1. And he may have the early lead, might give a couple of you a thrill. This is Plug Nickel, a horse that has been, as we noted earlier, consistent throughout his whole career. A horse that has a very respected trainer. His name is Kelly. We spoke with him.
Obviously, you've been casing the field, analyzing it. Detail for me, in your own terms, how you think this race will be run and how your horse will run.
Well, the perfect game plan would be for my colt would be to lay a little off the pace and somewhere around the quarter pole make that big move that I know he has. and hope prayerfully that we could win the Derby. But things seem like goes wrong with in lots of races, as it did in the Wood. We didn't want Plug Nickel on the front end in the Wood, but he broke from an outside post, and Buck used him a little quick, getting around the turn to save ground, and then he got him running and couldn't rate him. But I think that the long run here at Churchill Downs, from the quarter pole to the stand, will give him a little more confidence that he'll just kind of cruise away from the gate a little bit and not have him on the front end. But by the same token, there has to be a pace setter in the race, and you never know just who's going to do that.
If you had to make a guess, who would do that?
I'd have to say Rockville Native with his speed, and he seems to be, that's just a kind of an educated guess because of his race in the Bluegrass, Howard.
Down the stretch, nearing the wire, whom will it be that your horse will have to beat?
I have a lot of respect for the Elmdorf horse coming from behind. The colt from California that was second in the Bluegrass. I think another eighth of a mile will make a big difference to that horse because of his breeding and his style of running.
Well, the Elmendorf horse that came from behind in the Bluegrass was Super Moment, the number 3 horse, and there he is. Looks fidgety at the moment, and yet sometimes, Eddie Arcaro, that kind of fidgetiness can mean the horse is sprightly, ready, eager.
That's a tough paddock, Howard, and it's a bad paddock for an excitable horse, especially. But the adrenaline's naturally build up a little bit, and that's good.
All right. And here is the post parade. The number 1 horse is the California bred Bold and Ruling. Finished 3rd in the California Derby, the jock Pat Valenzuela. And the number 2 horse is a sentimental favorite for almost everyone, Jacqueline Klugman, 3 years old today. Jack Klugman may be 83 from nerves. The jock Darrell McHarg. And of course, he won the California Derby in the Stepping Stone. Super Moment, the wise, seasoned Donald Pierce up, is the number 3 horse, and a horse that was a flying second in the Bluegrass. The number 4 horse is the horse whose name former President Ford liked, Degenerate John. Won 3 races in a row early this year. Recent form, not like that. Hernandez, the jockey, Degenerate John. And the number 5 horse is the current 2-to-1 favorite, Rock Hill Native, with the relative unknown jockey, Johnny Oldham, up. 2-to-1, as I have noted, the current odds. The next horse may be a huge overlay, Gold Stage. Once beat Plug Nickel in an overnight race in Florida. He's at 40-to-1, as you see, but he's got the redoubtable Cordero aboard. And the number 7 horse is Eddie Arcaro's pick to win all the marbles, Rumbo, with the indomitable Lafitte Pincay up. And his odds have gone down steadily since the betting began. The number 8 horse is the much-talked-about filly, Genuine Risk, with a solid veteran prior Derby winner, the jock Jacinto Vazquez. And the number 9 horse is Plug Nickel. Plug Nickel with the ancient jockey up, 47 years. One would like to see that again. And the current odds speak for themselves. And the number 10 horse is another long shot, Withholding, bred in Kentucky. The jockey is Michael Morgan, and he is a good jockey. He is making marks here at Churchill. The number 11 horse, Execution's Reason. Look for early speed from this horse. The odds are huge. The jock, Randy Romero, who's the leading jock at Churchill Downs. He's got a hot hand. And then the 2 field horses, the 12 horse, Tonka Waka, with Melvin Holland up. And the number 13 horse was the late entry, the unexpected entry, Dave Casson, the trainer, but the great veteran jockey, Don Brumfield, up. So there is the field in your post parade.
Kentucky Derby. Bold and Ruling at 60-to-1. Jacqueline Klugman at 7-to-1. Super Moment, the fast closing horse, at 8-to-1. Degenerate John, 60-to-1. Rock Hill Native is the favorite at 2-to-1. Gold Stage, surprisingly a little bit, at 40-to-1. His best credential is his jockey, Angel Cordero Jr. Number 7, Rumbo, surprising support here. 3rd choice at 4-to-1. That's the California horse who closes fast. Number 8, Genuine Risk, the filly, at 13-to-1. Second choice in the betting, Plug Nickel at 5-2, with Holding at 60-1, Execution's Reason, the other gelding in the race, at least 99-1. That's as high as the odds board goes, remember. And the field horses, Tonkawakan and Hazard Duke at 50-1. Okay, that's the way the odds are at this moment. The 135,000 are gathered. It's almost time, Howard.
Right, Jim, and as the horses approach the starting gate, question of post position. Not really important in this one, is it, Eddie?
No, not at all, Howard. And let's make another point, Howard. This track is in excellent condition today. You couldn't hardly make it or paint it any better than it is today.
Frequently, the track is characterized as a cuppy racetrack. Do you find that condition existent today?
No, that we've had enough rain and they've had it, and it's wet enough to hold. As you and I walked across the track, I showed you where when a horse put his foot in, down, and was, after a race, it stayed there. It showed the full print of his foot, and that is not a cuppy racetrack.
Now, going back to post position, why is it not important?
Well, you've got 5/16 of a mile run before you get to the turn, and really, if you've got any kind of a mind at all, you should have a position in that length of time, or you shouldn't have jockey license.
And you're looking at Herb Stevens' horse, Rock Hill Native, as he approaches the starting gate. There are, remember, 13 horses in this field. When we talked about a track being cuppy, that means a suction-like procedure that picks up dirt under the horse's hoof. We were talking about that up in the jocks room.
Jacqueline Klugman ran a big race here, Howard. He really, and by the way, that means something. The clockers said that the 1:38 that he ran here that day was one of the best of all the races any horse in this race has run.
Riley Kofa, his trainer, feels the horse likes the make of this track very much. There is Super Moment, the late running horse that Ron McAnally trains. And they are now going into the starting gate. First, Bolden Ruling. Second, Jacqueline Klugman. Third, Super Moment. The fourth post position is Degenerate John. And then comes the 12 horse, Tonkawakan, in the fifth hole. In the sixth hole is Rock Hill Native.
Looks good, too.
Yes, he does look
He
good.
really looks good.
And the kids seem composed up in the jocks room. Gold Stage was lathering as he went in with Cordero up.
He is
And
really
then Rumbo, the 7 horse in the 9th hole.
It looks well. Rumbo really looks cool and collected.
And the 13 horse, the other field horse, the late entry, Hazard Duke. There is Rumbo, now going in, the 9th hole. The 8 horses, the much talked about filly, Genuine Risk. Jacinto Vasquez, polished rider.
Plug Nickel looked well, too, Howard. Very cold.
All right, Withholding goes in, so do the others. Up to Dave Johnson for the call.
They're all in line, and they're off. Gold Stage from between horses getting the early lead. Then toward the inside, it's Rock Hill Native second out in the middle of the racetrack. Execution's Reason with Plug Nickel from between horses, passing the stands for the first time. On the outside, Execution's Reason has the lead by a head. Plug Nickel between horses. Rock Hill Native on the inside third. 3 of them across the track battling for the early lead. Then it's Withholding on the outside fourth. Gold Stage back to fifth between horses. Bolden Ruling inches up on the inside. After that, it's Genuine Risk. Gap of 2 lengths to Jacqueline Klugman. Degenerate John on the inside. Super Moment. Hazard Duke. And then the trailers. Tonkawakan on the inside. Rumbo is 13th as they move on to the backstretch. Rock Hill Native leads at 3 parts of length. On the outside, Plug Nickel second ahead, and Bolden Ruling surprisingly on the rail. Now takes the second spot. Plug Nickel on the outside, back to third. From between horses, Gold Stage is fourth. Execution's Reason on the outside is fifth. Degenerate John on the rail is next. Then it's the filly, Genuine Risk. A gap of 3 lengths back to the next flight. After that, it's Super Moment on the outside. Jacqueline Klugman. From between horses, Hazard Duke is next. Rumbo on the inside, Withholding. And the trailer now, Tonkawakan 13th. And on to the far turn after they pass the half mile in a slow 48 seconds. On the inside, here comes Bolden Ruling charging up to challenge Rock Hill Native on the outside. Plug Nickel is right there, and there goes Genuine Risk. Now they're tightly bunched as they move to the top of the stretch, and Genuine Risk on the outside takes the lead. It's Genuine tremendous feat. The first filly to run in the Run for the Roses in 21 years, and only the second filly in history to win this mile-and-a-quarter classic. Regret won it in 1915, and Genuine Risk, trained by the outstanding conditioner Leroy Jolly and ridden by Jacinto Vasquez, who took foolish pleasure to the winner's circle after the Kentucky Derby. Genuine Risk in 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Now back to Jim McKay.
Number 2, Jack Lyman Cluckman. Genuine Risk, the second filly in the history of the Derby.
He run up there and hung.
All right. So racing history made here today. Yes, Bert Firestone wanted his filly in the Derby. Leroy Jolly had had his doubts. The story so often told. But what a race Genuine Risk ran today. And what a superb ride by Jacinto Vasquez. Perfect rating of the filly, Eddie.
Well, he's a great rider to start with. That's no contest about that. But the way he held her together, it looked like Rumbo on the outside was going to run by her right here. But you could see Jacinto how well he's not whipping her. He's helping her. And he naturally held off Rumbo to win the race.
They said,
great.
You said before the race in your racing strategy that Rock Hill Native and Plug Nickel would set the early pace. So they did, but they faded. They did not prove out as mile-and-a-quarter horses as you suggested.
I didn't think so then. Well, naturally, I don't now. But the filly deserves so much credit. You just can't sit her and give her enough credit.
The winning time, hardly sensational. 2 minutes, 2 seconds. Secretariat the record at 1:59 and 2. But as Lenny Goodman, the agent, once said, time is only important when you're in prison. We'll be right back at Churchill Downs.
We're back again at Churchill Downs, and it has happened for only the second time in 106 runnings. A filly has won the Kentucky Derby. Again, the name is Genuine Risk, and again, Rumbo was a fast-closing second, and Jacqueline Klugman, owned by the actor Jack Klugman, was third. We don't know whether he's been revived yet or not, speaking facetiously, of course. But the near impossible has happened. Not quite as impossible, I suppose, as the hockey team at Lake Placid, but this is a year for truly remarkable sports stories. The filly Genuine Risk, owned by Mrs. Bertram R. Firestone of Virginia, trained by Leroy Jolly, and ridden by Jacinto Vasquez, who won here in 1975 on Foolish Pleasure. Rock Hill Native, by the way, the favored gelding from Kentucky, finished 4th in the race. Plug Nickel was 7th and fading at the end. Those are unofficial as to the order of finish. Here is the filly being led into the winner's circle. And again, there's a tremendous feeling here, just the realization that it only happened in 1915 when Regret, owned by Harry Payne Whitney, came here as the favorite and won all the way. This filly, you still want to say colt, did not come as the favorite. She went off at approximately odds of 13-1. It is still not official, remember, but the blanket of roses has been placed across the knees of Jacinto Vasquez and the neck of Genuine Risk. And remember the story, that it was young Matthew Firestone, age 14 at the time, who kept trying to get his father and the trainer to come look at this filly at the yearling sales. Finally, almost just to sort of give him his way or pacify him, you might say, they said, okay, you can bid on the filly up to $35,000, thinking that it would go for 60 or 70, instead of which Matthew got it for $32,000. And now it has won the Derby. Firestones are in there. Usual crowd of friends, relatives, looking at Genuine Risk. She is a very attractive filly. Of course, now there will be no huge syndications, as you are always hearing about, for the colts when they win this race, because there is a limited number of horses that a female can produce. So there will be a large price on her, but the Firestones have said many times that there really is no price on her, because there is absolutely no chance that this filly will ever be sold, and obviously that's truer now than it was before the race. They love her. She'll be running more, of course, going on now to the Preakness in all probability, and then to the Belmont. She's got to hook up with another colt in the Preakness, however. Probably, it's not definite yet, but probably Codex, winner of the Santa Anita Derby and the Hollywood Derby on the West Coast, who, through an oversight, was not nominated for the Kentucky Derby. Codex probably will be in Baltimore 2 weeks from today, and of course, we will be there. Then the Belmont Stakes, the third leg of any possible Triple Crown. Obviously, no filly has ever won the Triple Crown. Still unofficial, by the way. We see no inquiry sign. No objection has been lodged. Now it is official. It's official. Genuine Risk officially has become the second filly to win the Derby. Look at the price. Not bad. $28.60, $10.60, and $4.80.